rest of that game, but we do know that it did go to a game freeze situation, reckoning esports managing to get the win in that round. So we'll give you an update on that once we know about it. But me and Fu are here to give you the game of the set so far. Angry Dogs versus Team Seoul, or SAUL, whichever way you want to shake it. Both of these teams are massive in this region. Angry Dogs locking themselves in for ACL already. I think this is going to be the game of the tournament so far, Fu.
Yeah, it's going to be the important rounds for sure, because whoever wins this will go into the finals, right? And has to, obviously gets a bit of time to rest and also watch the losers finals to see, maybe getting a little bit of additional data on the prospective opponents going in. But just looking at the bracket, both Angry Dogs and I guess SAUL have done so well leading up to this moment. All clean sweeps of them, 2-0s all across the board there. So we watched a little bit of a Team Seoul beforehand and how aggressive they were and how patient when they were getting knocked down. So, I mean, if there's any indication of how good and how close these games are going to be, this is one matchup to watch. And speaking of, I guess, just the matchups and bans here, we have interesting evolutions banned out, Leafeon and Umbreon off the board for SAUL. Meanwhile, Shifu not going to be into the playing field today for this game, as well as Mimikyu, another lockdown character, Tano.
Yeah, I like the decision from both of these teams, but it seems like no matter what happens to Glaceon, Umbreon, Leafeon will always be the meta evolutions in the game. So, but they are going to pick up that Lapras. All Might locking that one in. They're going to try and go plus ultra with that. Are Trevenant going to come on in? No, they're going to take the Ceruledge over on the side of Salt Esports, but they've locked in some really good meta picks. But if you can only pick one Mon, Hooper or Umbreon is usually the route that you go. So I like that coming in there from Angry Dogs.
Yeah, up on the board for SAUL to actually take, and having a Blissey, Ceruledge, and a Lapras could prove to be an insane core to bring out into this game number one there. Glaceon getting picked up by a Yaka P there, which is very, very common now. I'm not even surprised at this point, having been the other evolution not to be banned out. But Poo Plaza, we saw how good this Trevenant is across multiple cup qualifiers, and I'm sure they'll be no different tonight. And yeah, as we predicted, Kyurem picking up that Blissey, and Rex going in for that Defender Snorlax there, which means there is only one way All Might can be playing this game, and that's going to be full damage here, Tano.
Yes, I love it, buddy. Snorlax coming on out in a tournament. I know it had those recent buffs in the patch, but I love to see Snorlax coming on in. What's going to come from the side of Angry Dogs here? Mewtwo, Y, Blaziken, solid rip coming from their side. They've got the fantastic secure that is that Blaziken as well. And I've got to say, the range that they have over there is going to be difficult for them to answer over on the side of Seoul, but they've taken the Miraidon, one of the best ranged attackers in this game. Charge Beam is really difficult to beat, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it does outrange all of the Pokemons that Angry Dogs have now put up for this match here. Obviously, Mewtwo Y, we've seen how good it is once it does get its Mega Form. The attack speed is quite incredible, but it still gets outranged by something like the charging that you talked about. So I guess the honest is all about All Might looking to maybe flank around and get the knock-up on both Ayaka and also Rainy D. And maybe that's the perfect situation for something like a Snorlax Chain CC into something like a Snowy Revenant Ren on that Ceruledge, and then obviously the Charge Beam Meteor Shower that Miraidon can provide. This is looking like a very, very close in terms of draft game for both of these teams here, and obviously both of them eyeing for this game number one to build up the momentum. But we're going to head off, and something I want to actually note before we get into this game, Tano, is that we have some very interesting items here. We have Goal Hacker Hooper, which I have never seen in comp before, and the double full heal coming out from both Mewtwo Y and the Glaceon, which I know is going to be a response to that Unite move from the Ceruledge.
Yeah, I love the goal hacker on the Hooper, buddy. We don't see it in much tournaments, but it works so well. It just stops that healing coming on in when you are pushing a pad. So it seems like Angry Dogs are going to want to go quite aggressive with this. That's what it kind of says to me. And we're going to see Glaceon take that jungle rotation for them. They want to get that level 6 as quick as possible. Snorlax wants to go for an invade, though. They haven't got anybody there to ward off. In fact, Phantom is going to do just that. They've spotted the Snorlax, so that's going to be really important for them. And they're just going to rotate into this bottom lane to provide Miraidon with this assistance.
Yeah, and meanwhile in the top path here, we have some early damage coming out from All Might already, just shredding down the HP of the Torchic, you know, looking to get some stacks. And I think it's going to be so hard for someone like a Torchic to get any of the attack weights into the goals here, because Whirlpool covers up pretty much their whole entire goal. And maybe that's why Hooper is there, like you said, with the goal hacker to assist that function there, as we have Hooper to stun it in, but I think all the points still went on the side of SAUL there, as Snowy coming in to really just do a little bit of this farm, sending the Bumblebees up into the lane. They played so well, you know, the ability for Ceruledge to actually do that damage in that early game. And now I'm not surprised that this Marauders coming up to afford a little bit more backup as well. Might be just in time for these 850 birds here, Tano.
Yeah, and it's perfect for Soul Esports. They take all of that, and I gotta say, this rotation with the 4-man into the top lane, I think we're gonna see that a lot in UCS, because it utilizes so much, it puts so much pressure up in this top lane. They're lucky they've got Hooper that can rotate people up and down on the side of Angry Dogs, but Ceruledge has just come on down here to score these easy points, grab the rest of the XP. Mewtwo Y is backing on up. They're gonna see if they can grab that Ceruledge, but it's so difficult to do that when they have those dashes. We do see Lapras taking down the Torchic, getting really close, and they want to continue the pressure onto Hooper. We're at 8:15 right now, buddy, and the levels are getting just slightly more advantaged over on the side of Soul Esports.
Yeah, definitely. And Perish Song is going to be the move of choice for Lapras there. Hooper obviously sending members up to try to stall this out. But when you have a Blissey that's helping out a Lapras, none of these Pokemon's going to go down, even with the spears coming out from Angry Dogs here. They're definitely angry now. They have locked on once again, but the Lapras able to get back safely onto pad means that the push may not be good enough until we have the Combusken evolution here.
I love the fact that we have, I think, the flame charge coming out of the Ceruledge again, but that's going to be important to keep a close eye on. I think it's really great moveset to just continue putting those dashes and pressure in. They kind of want to dive in, dive out. They're not too worried about the CC coming in, which is a surprise, because they do have that Trevenant, of course, but not too much outside of that realistically. We're going to hit these 720s, and it seems like they've got pretty much even lanes, although we have more in the bottom lane for Angry Dogs. They do have that Hooper up here, but all of that farm is going to go to the side of Soul Esports, nearly picking on up that Trevenant, but they take that pad home. 10 seconds away from these first objectives, and it seems like we have a rotation coming on in from Soul Esports. Well, there's only 2 down here right now for Angry Dogs, but of course they do have that Hooper portal, buddy. It's a Reggie steal. Let's see who goes for the engage. We've got a Rip coming in from Ceruledge.
Yeah, I mean, no Unite moves at all. Oh, Glaceon just managed to tick over, but it's going to be late to this fight, and I think that's exactly what Snowy is looking for. An early fight here to secure the Reggie. No, it's not! We have Blue Plaza able to not only isolate these 2 members, but also get the skill on the team. And the cherry on top is to get out of that fight. How the heck did it do that, Tano?
An absolute change in momentum there, buddy. Angry Dogs. It did look like Soul Esports were going to lock that one in. Really good timed Revenant Rend, but Trevenant said, that's going to be mine, buddy. And then they clean up with the Mewtwo Y KOs. Some more points going in this top goal, and Angry Dogs have taken the momentum away from Soul Esports right now. A double KO for Hooper.
100%. I mean, in that, you know, just that one tick of a moment, I mean, suddenly we have more stacks coming in from the top pad. They have that pad broken as well. And SAUL finding themselves in a very realistic, circumstance here, because, you know, they came out aggressive. They had the level lead. We had a level 9 Ceruledge against level 7s on the side of Angry Dogs. And now, you know, we blink. There are 4 members with level 9 and the Glaceon hit that level 10 as well, meaning that there could be some pressure coming into that top pad here, possibly even a Regieleki going in.
Yeah, you've got to push this. They don't have the springboard for at least another 30 seconds. The rings have been let loose. The meteors are coming on down. Glaceon with their own Unite move. Soul Esports trying to do whatever they can to defend this pad. They've put a huge effort in. Blissey does go down, but it is just Trevenant and Blaziken here to try and push this one in. With Blaziken going down to the Ceruledge there, the Trevenant will pick them up. They drop the Phantom Forest, but they haven't quite done enough to push that one in. It was a great decision, buddy, but they have given some KOs over to the side of Soul Esports.
Absolutely, and I think looking at this tree play, it just reminds me of Jellyman from what we casted a few days ago. Just the ability to stay sustained, but still deal so much damage with its curse combo. I mean, it's great to see something like it damage be come back into the meta, and I think it's a great way to isolate, especially members such as Ceruledge that likes the freedom of being able to move in and out and deal the damage. It is a great counter to that, and looking at the mini-map, though, it seems like all members of Angry Dogs is going to be able to take that Registeel again, uncontested. So things are really looking up for Angry Dogs.
Yeah, they've got the rotations that they can use from that Hooper, and it's so important for them. They can be in any lane they want to be in, mate. This is the pressure that Hooper can provide for your team, and it is just complete map control from Angry Dogs right now. We're seeing Soul Esports just try and grab whatever XP spawns on their side. As soon as we see those yellow dots, they're going Pac-Man mode and just supping all of that up. But we have a Lecky spawning in about 15 seconds in the top lane. If they can get a quick enough rip, I don't think they're going to be able to do so, so they won't be one before the Rayquaza, but it does utilize some pressure for that T2. But we're seeing Soul Esports push the bottom pad to score some points. You've got to break these pads to stop that Hooper rotation being so important.
Yeah, and that's a good bait of the Hooper going that bot path as well. Now they can maybe go in and defend this pad a little bit easier, seeing that there's no portal to take people out when they're now damaged a little bit. Cerule is actually opting to go through the central area of Angry Dogs at the moment, just to maybe get a little bit more experience and maybe starve out this Glaceon that's been so impactful in this game here. Maybe caught out by the two members there, as we have Blissey walking into the central area just to stop this Blaziken move, maybe getting a cheeky dunk in the bottom part as well. Charge Beam comes through once again by Miraidon. There's not a lot the Angry Dogs can actually do, but they managed to, I guess, fend off this Cerulege, sending it back to the home pad.
Yeah, they've done loads to keep the aggression to the side of Angry Dogs. It's just every time there's a farm up or there's a push onto the pad, Soul Esports are spending so much time having to defend what's coming into their lanes. It's working for Angry Dogs right now. 20 seconds before this bottom objective spawns. We're a minute away from Rayquaza. They have managed to catch up in the levels realistically over on the side of Soul Esports, but they've got a level 13 Glaceon over on the side of Angry Dogs. They're feeling pretty confident in regards to where they're at right now, buddy. So let's see who goes for this bottom Reggie. It seems like Angry Dogs are prepared to go for it. We've got Trevenant there for some zoning. They're going to go for the rip with the Mewtwo and the Glaceon, and that's just too much rip for Soul Esports to answer to.
Yeah, and I think Soul Esports is just making the executive decision not to go for that Regirock as well. Obviously, there's 30 seconds till the Rayquaza fight. Probably getting that last bit of experience is quite valuable, as well as getting some positioning, right? We still have all pads up for Angry Dogs, and they're in a fantastic position, especially with our Hooper, able to just stay close and maybe just pull people up and down if they're going to be an overdunk. Or a cheeky score coming out from that Cerulege as well. We have an early engage. Maybe the future side going onto the Snorlax. Maybe able to take it out. No, it does get it back away safely, as Orma is looking to just check the bushes from that top side and maybe support the Cerulege going in for a dunk.
Yeah, good back cap coming in there from Soul Esports. It doesn't put them in the lead though. 110 still on that board. 174 over on the side of Angry Dogs, waiting for the engage. We do have vision on where everybody is right now. That Blaziken's going to be one to keep a very close eye on. Snorlax managing to hop out of the way of that Trevenant with that heavy slam. They do have the Yawn, which will be really important for these fights, but look at the back cap from the Lapras. If they can just stop this engage whilst that Lapras comes on back in, that's put them into the lead, buddy. 210 points. Lapras has popped the Express. We've taken down the Hooper. Without that Unite move, it's going to be huge. There goes the Blaziken. Bliss's Sisters coming in on the Snorlax. They are dropping like flies over on the side of Angry Dogs, and they managed to rip the Rayquaza. Lapras locking that one in for Soul Esports. A triple KO for the Cerulege. Hundo Burgers Galore is coming on in now, and this is going to be the first game for Soul Esports. We do have a minute left. There could be a push from Angry Dogs, but it depends if there's enough change on the field for them to be able to get that advantage.
Yeah, yet again, I mean, just the experience coming out from Soul Esports, giving them so much patience, knowing that, yes, they were behind in points, but the double down coming out from the Cerulege and the Lapras meant that they were able to come back in, and really, I guess, it kind of rushed Angry Dogs to do something, and that was to their mistake, because now we had the rip on the Rayquaza, and obviously Lapras getting that secure was fantastic for them. And, you know, suddenly from being behind all game, where we have a level lead, and also a points lead of over, what, 250, nearly 300 points, and with the Cerulege dunking in another Hundo Burger, I mean, even if they give this top pad here, Tano, they're still well ahead and possibly to win this game.
Yeah, I think they could probably just give this pad up, but I think with how much time is left in this game, they're just going to put some pressure onto it. They know there's only a couple of seconds left. Huge amount of damage coming on in. Nice heavy slams from these Snorlaxes as well, buddy. But yet again, it just seems like Soul Esports is cleaning up Angry Dogs in these fights, and it's quite surprising. It honestly felt like Angry Dogs had a lot of control in that game early along, but then Soul Esports came to answer. That Rayquaza fight was huge from them. Great patience to wait for those back caps to go in before they went for that engage.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the main, I guess, picks that Angry Dogs actually suffered there was losing the Hooper very, very early on. I think that's one of the first KOs that Ceruledge was able to take on that part. And I think, whether it was Angry Dogs starting the rip or Solar Esports, it was definitely a great play, right? Because knowing that you don't have one of your best portal Pokemon available for you to bring people back in or bring this anyone that got knocked out back into the playing field meant that they could just get a favored secure there. And, whether it was the Lapras, the Charging Beam that ultimately got it at the end of the day, it secured them the advantage going into terms of scoring and won them this game number one. But, all is not over yet for Angry Dogs. Maybe they can use this, I guess, disappointing start as the anger, true to their name, to kind of come back in and adapt to this situation here. But regardless, a very close game. And, for the better part of it, I thought Angry Dogs had both hands on the steering wheel there, but just obviously lost it a little bit at the Rayquaza fight.
Yeah, I loved when they pushed that bottom Reggie and they managed to really put the pressure onto the lane. It kind of flipped the way the momentum was going, and Angry Dogs really managed to clean up from there. So I liked that coming on in, but it did just seem like Seoul Esports, they had the great ult synergy coming into this Rayquaza fight, as we can see on the clips here. They used the Blissey Unite whilst the Snorlax was just sat in the center of the enemy, so that did a lot of damage. We had the Unites coming in from Miraidon. They were timed so perfectly, buddy, whilst they had that Lapras Express coming on down as well, that it just meant that was a cleanup for them at that Rayquaza fight, and then it was just all defense from there on out. So that's going to be a tough team fight to handle for Angry Dogs. They need to learn from that, and we're going to go into this next game with them probably looking at targeting some sort of ban over there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, for them, they had such a good, strong draft going in, knowing that if they can make sure that Snowy gets a good pick with that Bliss to help them out as well. And obviously, Lapras is just great for its Unite move, right? Able to come back into the fight just like a speedy choo-choo train, which is what you like to call it, after getting that 100 over dunk as well. Because I think if from my point of view, when I saw the Ceruledge dunk, I thought maybe that was the only attempt at maybe breaking the top pad. But having Lapras to go back for a second time probably threw off Angry Dogs as well. Because, when you first see someone going for the dunk, you're like, okay, that's probably going to be all we're going to be affording from that team. We're still ahead in points. And then you get into kind of a little skirmish, and then you see a Lapras scoring. They get it in, and then suddenly you blink, and the Lapras is right in front of you with the Lapras Express. I think All Might definitely did, everything all right there for sure. And I'm keen to see whether they, actually bring it back for the second game, or Angry Dogs is just going to say, I'm going to ban it out the window. So, I mean, only time will tell as we head into that second game very, very soon. But that's definitely something that I felt SAUL All Might did fantastically that game.
Yeah, no, they really did. These teams have been fantastic to watch, and we're going to go into this second game here. They do ban out the Ho-Ho, the Umbreon, the Leafeon, and they haven't gone for a second ban over on the side of S8UL. Maybe it was a misclick or they just didn't have time to do so, but it definitely isn't going to be a flex, although it very well could be. Very strong team over on the side of S8UL.
100%. And maybe it's just to leave more Pokemons on the board, not too sure. But, what I'm sure of is that they want to go for that round 2 on the Lapras there. All Might locking in immediately, though. But he gets, I guess, in response, Rainy D locking into Mimikyu early as well. I'm always a little bit wary when teams are locking Mimikyu that early on, because it provides the opposition team the time and the, I guess, the ability to choose Pokemon to counter this, I guess, Pikachu imposter. I'm not too sure what the proper name for them is. Because, Mimikyu is susceptible to a few counters, such as this Clefable, getting locked in by Kyurem straight away. So only time will tell whether that was a good decision to pick Mimikyu that early on, but maybe they're just able to think of a strategy so that the Mimikyu doesn't get locked down. Or maybe it baits the team in picking Clefable, who knows? But what I do know is Brew CG gonna lock in that Dragonite as well.
Nice. I think our good friend Lobo calls it a ghost puppet.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, Snorlax coming out again for S8UL. I feel like the Heavy Slams and Yawns were really good for them. Power Nap is, of course, a really good Unite move that they utilized at some really important team fights. So they've got a really good, solid frontline core over on the side of S8UL. They know what they're coming up against with Angry Dogs right now. They've pretty much locked in majority of their comps, so they can go with the counter picks here. They were going to go with the Blaziken. Are we going to see the Ceruledge? They do have that important Unite move on that. I suspect we're going to see a attacker coming on in, and Glaceon, really not a surprise with that one, buddy, with the amount of strength that they have over on the side of Angry Dogs.
I mean, I cannot see this Glaceon going down if it sticks with his tank. There's so much frontline and support on the side of Seoul Esports at the moment. I mean, if you are a Glaceon and you're scared of the Mimikyu, if you just stick by Kyurem here on the Clefable, it can drop that gravity instantly, and Mimikyu is not going to be able to do a lot, right? I do also suspect that Mimikyu might go for the Shadow Claw here, but then there's just so much CC afforded by the Ice Beam and the Heavy Slam as well. Might make the job a little bit harder. Oh, what I'm not surprised is Ayaka P picking up the Espeon, because I was just thinking in my mind, Tano, how great would it be for a Psybeam game? Because the amount of tank that you have in the front line, that is a dream for any Psybeam player. The ability to just deal additional damage depending on the HP of the person you're hitting means that a lot of this damage is going to be dealt to everyone clouding around this, I guess, support and tank that Rex and Kyurem will bring to the table here. Now, what I'm a little bit scared of, the only anti-heal coming out from Angry Dogs is this Espeon. So I'm surprised Trevenant hasn't put it on if it is going to go with that Curse or this Mimikyu putting it on so that the Shadow Claw or Play Rough can, kind of win those matchups when it goes against some tanky players. And it's the whole pressure is now on Ayaka to actually stay around the team and apply this anti-heal. And I'm afraid that, if it gets picked out instantly by something like a Ceruledge, it could be trouble for their team.
Yeah, no, it really could. I also love the Psybeam decision. I'm excited to see that. It's one of my favorite secures in the game, too, because you don't even have to hit the objective. You just have to hit an enemy near it, and you can really get some easy secures doing just that. So let's keep a close eye on how they utilize that, as well as spreading out that anti-heal. We're going to see Ceruledge take the jungle here for Seoul Esports. That's going to be an early evolution for them, coming into that lane to put some pressure onto them. It's going to be the Dragonite over in the other side. That means they're going to have that Dragonair coming into the first lane. We don't have any invade just yet. Phantom going for the warning yet again, but there's nobody coming from the side of Seoul Esports. A lot of pressure from Mimikyu already in this top lane. There is a Lapras there. Clefairy really getting on weak, but they've had to back up to the pad. This aggression's working really well for Angry Dogs right now, Fu.
Yeah, when you have a supporter that can just A-press and slow enemy down, and then someone running a muscle ban on that Mimikyu, you can do a whole lot of damage, and if that Clef isn't careful, it will get knocked out immediately. And this, speaking of getting knocked out though, Mimikyu are quite low as well, as the Lapras makes a response play, but Dragonair is here to help. Not a lot of, I guess, damage can come out from this Pokemon at the moment, considering that Ceruledge is now also up in that top path here, looking to maybe get a few dunks, or maybe a cheeky pick on the Glossifer if it does overstep. But, the next bit of experience will be spawning in about 5 seconds here, Tano, and I do see that Espeon coming up for an additional gank. It is going to be a 4v3 up in that top path.
Yeah, is it going to be stored power? Yes, it is. That's going to be really important for this game, especially handling Ceruledge. They go down, and Angry Dogs do have the aggression to back it up right now. They've decided to retreat, though. They saw the Glaceon there. They want to go into the jungle and prevent that experience going to that Glaceon. If you can stop that level 7, it's going to be huge for your team. Ceruledge also on that bottom blue buff. You've got a Dragonair, you've got an Eldegoss, and an Espeon on your tail, buddy. That's going to be tough. Trevenant cleaning up that bottom pad experience as well. And look at this aggression from Angry Dogs. Ceruledge just hasn't been able to lock in the amount that it wants. Level 5 still on that Glaceon as well. This is really important from them.
Oh my gosh, another KO just to pad up their experience, and what a perfect time to get out of the jungle after taking both of their buffs. Is they're going to be the spawn of those Altaris and Swablups in the middle. Mimikyu now nearly level 7 up the top path as well. We do have a Snorlax though, not really in a place where they want to be, kind of flanking from the behind there, possibly after getting a jungle invade as well. Snowy very low here, but has that level 7, so maybe the Flame Charge will be able to pick off their Espeon. Yes, they do. Now, as SCG will be sent scrambling, they did have the possibility to maybe take out the Ceruledge. No, it will be able to get away. I think the benefit of Flame Charge here, Tano, is it has that additional dash, right? So able to obviously buff your attack speed, but also get out of tough situations like that.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things about it is you can just dash and it gets you away. And also, you can lock in KOs with doing just that. They take down the Mimikyu to answer, and that's going to be Seoul Esports taking that top lane. Trevenant is there to provide assistance, but they grab the majority of that experience. But Angry Dogs have managed to get this Angry Dragon online. 5 seconds till this bottom objective. They've got the Hyper Beam availability. That's going to be a rip coming in from them. Espeon's also there. They've got the Psybeam. It's just the Snorlax just trying to get some zoning in. Trevenant comes on down, the Revenant Wren comes out, it does pick up the Dragonite, and they're not able to lock in the Hyper Beam, buddy, because Ceruledge has cleaned on up. Eldegoss goes down, and yet again, Ceruledge is the answer for Seoul Esports. Double KO out of that one.
Yeah, I mean, triple KO indeed. I mean, picking up that Elder Gods was massive there, and I was just going to say a bit of deja vu if Blue Plaza was able to take out that Reggie again, but definitely Revenant Rain not missing its mark this time, making sure that they do get that buff for Seoul Esports here. And we have a triple Mimi, which we don't actually get to see that often there. Hyper Beam coming through from Angry Dogs to secure that, and Lapras obviously has to get out of this situation. No Unite for it yet, no Choo Choo Train, but as the Trick Room gets set once again, we remind everyone how many infinite dashes that this Pokemon can have in that room, as the Play With Me will get locked on, but quickly gets stopped in by the Spears of Glaceon. What an auto attack crit to make sure he gets set back to the home base here, and Trevenant looking for a little bit more, but a huge Horn Leech, maybe that means more damage gonna come through. He gets the reset as well. The Spears lock onto the Elder Gods and not the Trevenant, so perhaps it gets out. Yes, it does. What a fantastic show of defense and offense by the Trevenant player up in that top part there, as the Yakapi looking to maybe soak up some experience, but the Revenant Rain will go through and knock it out. And you know, we blink for a second, people come off pad for a little bit, and Snowy just sees that opportunity to engage, and now a pad broken as well. 225 to 84, Tano.
It's crazy how close this game really is in these battles, buddy. I know, look at that score right now, but that battle for that T1 pad was going both ways, but they managed to defend it with a huge defense from Seoul Esports. Those spears coming on out, hitting that Lecky whilst they were going through to take down the experience over on the farm. That was really huge from Glaceon, and then they just pushed that pad, buddy, and lock in a 231-point lead. It seems like whenever Seoul Esports are coming out on the back foot, they find a way to get an advantage and punish it.
Yeah, there's no doubt that this team there's a reason why they have qualified for back-to-back Worlds Championships, right? And you know, it's at full display at the moment as both teams are converging now here. We have a 3-member team at that bottom path from Seoul Esports looking to maybe get a bit of a fight here in the bottom path for this basement Reggie, but the Mimikyu is now relentless on that Glaceon, but this Regirock is so close. The Hyper Beam goes through, and the Trevenant able to make sure they get the secure on there as well. Snowy on 1 HP will go down to the Espeon there, and this fight seems to be a fight that Angry Dogs have now started winning. Glaceon still so healthy with its spears, but not a lot can be done if it keeps looking into this Mimikyu that's being healed up constantly by the Elder Gods. Glacial stage will be set though, but too many members now for this Glaceon to stop score. We have a pad break for Angry Dogs and a possible comeback now, as the Espeon and the Dragonite will head up to the top along with the team member to maybe, you know, get a buff on the way, a little bit of bonus after winning that pad fight there.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, as that Glaceon, they're doing so well to sit behind their frontliners and drop the damage, but what can you do when your frontliners are not managing to survive too long, right? You're just going to have the team rushing you, so they weren't able to do anything down there, but Ceruledge was up top. They've taken a double KO, and now Seoul Esports can rotate onto that Lecky and get that completely uncontested. We're going to see some farm picked up by the side of Angry Dogs. They know this Rayquaza is going to be the decider for this battle. This score is still quite close. Just really a hundo dunk between it, buddy. Lapras Express has come out. They want to push this Lecky, or they want to go down to the bottom. Exactly. So Ceruledge is on the back of that Lapras. They do have the opportunity for Revenant Ren. They've utilized it down there. Is anyone going to be able to pick up a KO, though? The pressure coming in from Seoul Esports. Top lane has this Lecky going on, and then the Psychic Solaire. But Angry Dogs have really managed to defend this pad. Glaceon's going to run, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get away from the curse. They do have the spears coming on in, and Trevenant decides to give up the chase. Huge defense from Angry Dogs there.
Yeah, what a valuable trade for Unites for Angry Dogs there. They used one Espeon Unite, and in return, they got the Ceruledge Unite to come out, they got the Glaceon Unite to come out, and the Lapras Express as well. So I'm not sure whether all these team members from the side of Seoul Esports were able to actually get it before the Rayquaza spawns, but definitely, if you're on the side of Angry Dogs, that is some valuable information to know. Now, somehow Rainy D gets out of that fight as well. It's quite incredible, and that's really the power of a Trick Room, right? The more you slow this Pokemon, the faster it gets in that field, and that's exactly what they want as well. Regirock on that team, making sure that this Trevenant gets a little bit more tank for this fight here. This is important for Angry Dogs. They need to get this to send it to a Game 3 scenario.
Nice yawn onto Trevenant. They've taken down half their health. Eldegoss is here to try and heal that one up, though. But yeah, this is the engage that matters. Of course, they do have the secure over on the side of Angry Dogs with that Hyper Beam, but they have the rip over on the side of Seoul Esports. Let's see what they decide to do, because they need to be cautious of that Dragonite. They don't want to be locking up any kind of rip whilst that is on the field. The Mimikyu has spotted the Ceruledge and Lapras in the top lane. We don't quite have the engage. The poke coming in from the Glaceon is going to do a huge amount amount of damage. Eldegoss is there, but it's whether they can heal up that huge damage. The heavy slam comes in from the Snorlax. They've got the yawn onto the Eldegoss as well. There's the Psychic Slayer from the Espeon, nearly taking down the Clefable. Is it enough? The Power Nap comes in. Huge CC for Soul Esports on that one. And they're just in the backline is the Mimikyu, but they're not able to lock in a KO through. They've been taken down by the Lapras. The engage onto the Ceruledge, though. They are very, very weak right now, but it does seem like Soul Esports have the advantage here. 2 KO for Lapras. They take down that Eldegoss. Dragonite is having to back on up. A huge Horn Leech from that Trevenant is going to push everybody left, right, and center. And the Hyper Beam is going to do just that to clean up the Snorlax with that Espeon. And now the advantage was to the side of Angry Dogs, but the Ceruledge is here yet again, and that's going to be too much for this Dragonite to handle. They have to run. They decide to back up on the chase. Does Snowy on that Ceruledge, and we're going to have a second fight for this engage, buddy. I am running out of words right now. This is crazy to see.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can see, just look at the area of effect coming out from the Curse and the Parasong as well. Play with Blaze will go on the Clef, but it's useless. It missed its mark on the Ceruledge, but Ceruledge might be able to take it down here. No, gets out with the Clefable, but the beam goes a bit early on the Rayquaza fight. The Storm, Pokemon will be the MVP, making Angry Dogs extremely angry for missing that Hyper Beam secure, and I think this might just be game over for this semi-finals here, Tano. I mean, out of all the Pokemons, you don't expect Snorlax to be the MVP to secure the Rayquaza, but when you have someone that sees the opportunity and sees the Hyper Beam miss on the target and the Rayquaza at 1 HP, I mean, that is just a blessing for something like a Snorlax to whack it out the park. And whack it apart, they did. Soul Esports getting that 2-0 onto Angry Birds and going into as the first team into the grand finals here.
Yeah, I think Angry Dogs are going to go down to this losers bracket and they are going to play angry, mate. That was crazy. The Hyper Beam was just slightly, very slightly too early, putting that Rayquaza down to 1 hit. Snorlax probably was worried seeing that come in, but then it was praising the Lord of Pokemon Unite for that 1 HP Rayquaza, for them just to hit and lock in that easy win for Soul Esports. What a crazy game that was. That Rayquaza fight was never ending. It honestly felt like that was going to continue going until literally the last few seconds of this game.
Yeah, you're about to drop like a rap album or something like that. I saw you just calling out all the action for the better part of 1:30. But at the end of the day, right, it is going to be Soul Esports once again to take that W there. And you know, for a bit, I mean, just the Dragonite Hyper Beam into the Horn Leech there and knocking out 2 members with it was fantastic. But they just